Good morning. Yesterday I posted a question on Facebook, and the way certain people reacted to that question, so it is pertinent to answer that question and to elaborate the importance of divine laws, natural laws, and objective laws in international relations theory. I generally don't react to such people, but the way uh, the discussion was carried out, so it was a matter of integrity and prestige for me to answer this question and to prove that in international relations theory, the understanding of three aspects is very much relevant. Number one, the great debates. Number two, four wars in the evolution of IR. And number three, the importance of laws. I will start with the most recent question, which I posted last night. Now, see, international relations theory basically is divided into two traditions. One tradition is known as a universal tradition. Theories like liberalism and Marxism, they carry the characteristics of universal tradition. Now, what is a universal tradition? Universal tradition in international relations theory believes in morality, ethics, peace, possibilities of peace, and since ages, how states can, or kingdoms, or rulers would interact with each other. Even before the Greek city states, and during the times of Greek city states, religion has always played an important role while carrying out relationship between states, kingdoms, rulers. And since we are in Pakistan, so we can give example of the ruling of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that in universal tradition, divine laws initially were used. The morality, ethics, and the norms and the possibilities of peace, divine laws were used to conduct relations or to determine relations, or to, you can say, to set the SOPs of relations, the conduct of war, how to deal with your opponent, and stuff like that. This universal tradition, with a focus on a religion, divine laws, remained a hallmark of international relations previous till you can say 30 years war. Even the same tradition was followed by the Catholic Church. It was in 30 years war that intelligentsia, leadership, people, they started questioning that because some 8 to 10 million people died in 30 years war. So in Treaty of Westphalia, people came up with such a conclusion, such an agreement, and make sure that there was no ruler present in Treaty of Westphalia. Some more than 400 people, those who constructed that idea of Westphalia, they were all lawyers. They belonged to jurisprudence. They were not rulers. So divine laws within the universal tradition are not capable enough to create the possibilities of peace because of the horrific propositions West witnessed during 30 years war. During that time period of 16th and particularly 17th century, certain scholarship, those who believed in universal tradition, but they were not believer of divine laws, that certain scholarship came up with the importance on individual, the rights of the individual, which gave birth to natural laws. The founding father was Hugo Grotius. Thomas Hobbes focused on individual. John Locke focused on individual. They were believers of universal tradition. Hobbes, after when he gave his political ideal, he transcended towards classical tradition. But all those scholarships during and after the 30 Years' War, they started questioning the authority of divine laws. Divine laws were replaced with natural laws. That we, the people, we would set the legal rights of the people, of the individual. That gave birth to the first idea in the study of international relations theory, which is also known as liberal internationalism. Now, that is one tradition, liberal tradition. That universal tradition was adopted by Woodrow Wilson and others after World War I, when they gave the idea of liberal idealism. Same universal tradition was witnessed in neoliberalism. So there is a legacy of universal tradition, with initially focusing on divine laws and then later on from 17th century till date on natural laws. Liberal internationalist, liberal idealist, and then liberal institutionalists. So this contextualization in the study of international relations theory is very relevant. If you don't have the understanding of the roots or the push factors which are helpful in the development or construction of an IR theory, so you cannot understand or comprehend the holistic context of a theory. Same universal tradition based on natural laws, Marxist approach. Karl Marx believed in natural laws, and the Marxist tendency was also a universal tradition. Morality and ethics, although they also target state, that state is being the part of the security problem, state is also a part of it. So Marxists are also, they believe in natural laws and the same universal tradition. So universal tradition in international relations theory encompasses two major theoretical domains, liberalism and Marxism. So this is one thing. Second, classical tradition. Classical tradition, the first scholar who highlighted this classical tradition was, of course, Thucydides. But even before Thucydides, it was a very much a clear phenomena that power will determine morality, not the divine laws. It's the power which will determine morality. It will power which will create its own hegemony, which will creates its own impact. That classical tradition was transcended, which was theorized by Thucydides, was carried out by Machiavelli, and then the political ideals of Hobbes as well. Because since I already told you that within the context of individual, he was a follower of universal tradition, but in context of application, he transcended into classical tradition. Same classical tradition, when it came into 20th century, then it was Morgenthau who theorized it properly. And he started questioning the authority of divine law, natural law, and he gave the idea that politics is governed by objective laws. So in classical realism, in structural realism, in modern realism, in defensive realism, in offensive realism, in neoclassical realism. In all realist theories, that classical tradition and the idea that politics is governed by objective laws is prevalent. So this is the base. It's not an irrelevant question. Few people started questioning the integrity of myself. So I found it important that to answer such people and to clear the ambiguity that theory is not just you would write down or you would memorize or read the features of that theory. No, no sir, no. You have to understand the contextualization. Although there are few theories, we don't believe in universal tradition or classic tradition, like the postmodernist theories. They don't believe in any tradition. That's why they are known as post-positivist theories. All positivist theories, they belong to certain tradition. They are foundational. Why would say they are foundational? Because they believe in certain traditions, they believe in certain laws. Well, with the post-positivist theories, they don't believe in traditions, like post-colonialism, post-structuralism, post-modernism itself, constructivism. So this is one thing which I need to clear, that the question I posted last night, that why we study international relation theory and what are the bases of it. I'm hopeful that clear ho gaya hoga. Secondly, the importance of 4 wars which gave birth to the discipline of IR. So it's not me, it's a scholarship which has referred it. You can have a look at on different lectures on YouTube as well. You can go to the book of Linklater and other important scholars. 4 wars. Peloponnesian War, because Peloponnesian War gave you Thucydides, and Thucydides, the way he provided you the idea of morality belonged to power, is a central pillar in the study of international relation theory. Second war, 30 Years' War. 30 Years' War provided you a new grand structure whereby divine laws were abandoned and natural laws, importance of natural laws. Third, Napoleonic Wars. Napoleonic Wars gave you Alex de Tocqueville, the person who focused on the idea of diplomacy in 19th century. And fourth, the Great War, the First World War. The First World War gave you liberal idealism. So these 4 wars gave birth to 4 different ideas, 4 different pillars, which became a center or a base, or provided a conceptual framework for the evolution of this discipline. So let it very clear that when I post a question, तो I don't post a question to confuse students. रिजल्ट आ रहा है अभी, उसमें आप IR का हाल देख लीजिएगा. जो लोग नोट्स पढ़ते हैं, पॉइंट्स लिख लेते हैं, किताब नहीं पढ़ते, सिर्फ बस रट्टा मार लिया, तो उनका हाल देख लीजिएगा. So try to focus on international relations theory as a proper discipline and make sure that अगर आपकी international relation theory clear है तो कॉन्सेप्ट्स आपके लिए मसला नहीं है, एप्लीकेशन मसला नहीं है, सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस है थोड़ी सी. सो ये क्लियर करना बहुत ज़रूरी था. एंड ऑफ कोर्स डिबेट्स, द फर्स्ट debate related to realism and idealism, second debate related to traditional approach and behavioral approach, and then the neo debate, and then the positivism, post-positivism. These 3 domains which I have discussed, these are central in the study of IR theory. 2017 में जब क्वेश्चन आया था पॉजिटिविज्म पोस्ट पॉजिटिविज्म वाला, तो बड़ी दुनिया कहती थी आउट ऑफ सिलेबस है, नॉट इन सिलेबस. These laws are not written in the syllabus. Same is the case with the positivist and post-positivist approach, not mentioned in the syllabus. So things which are not mentioned in the syllabus, you will not read it. You will not study it. Huh? So don't you dare to question my integrity and my authority over my discipline and my character. It is very much relevant to study. Study good books. Do not focus only on articles and notes. Try to contextualize things. So these are the things जी जिसको clear करना ज़रूरी था. In the last, I've been teaching since last 12 years in this CSS field, and one thing which I've learned from my experience, that nobody, literally nobody, can blackmail me. Secondly, I believe in commitment. Either it's you are my student or you are my colleague, I believe in commitment and I believe in loyalty. So those who didn't perform, they have no right to continue. Only those have the right who are capable. And ये हर साल होता है, किसी ना किसी इशू पे मेरे ख़िलाफ़ जो है वो कोई ना कोई प्रोपोगेंडा होता है. लेकिन now I have decided that I will address such propaganda not in any you know in a post-truth mechanism. No sir. I will address all such propagandas through my lectures, and that's it. Thank you very much. God bless you and read good books. आयर का रिज़ल्ट काफ़ी ख़राब आ रहा है, स्टूडेंट्स अभी भी फोकस नहीं कर रहे. रीड गुड बुक्स. थैंक यू वेरी मच.